So, what is fiscal sponsorship? And how exactly can it help your nonprofit? Well, we're going to find out coming up. Hi guys, it's Krista here for the Tina Conteh Foundation, where we empower our seniors in every way, every day. If you're new here, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. So welcome to our Nonprofit Essentials series. In this series, we discuss tips, tools, and strategies for nonprofit success. In episode 1, we talked about the power of research and how your nonprofit can benefit. Today, we're talking about fiscal sponsorship. What is it? And exactly what can it do for your nonprofit? You know, there's so many resources on the internet about fiscal sponsorship. So one can get kind of confused when doing their own research. So what I've done is gathered some of those resources together and compiled a brief overview on fiscal sponsorship. So let's go ahead and have a look.
Hi guys, it's Krista here. So I bet you didn't know you were getting a PowerPoint, but no worries. This is a very brief overview of fiscal sponsorship. We just have so much information that I felt that showing you on a PowerPoint is the best way and most effective. Now all this information here, or a lot of it, is taken from the New York Lawyers for Public Interest Fiscal Sponsorship Guide. I'm going to include links in the description box below, and also on the last slide I'll include links to all the information, all the resources that were used. This is a very interesting subject and it can be really helpful, so I want to give you all this information. So let's go ahead and jump in on fiscal sponsorship and how can it benefit your nonprofit. So what is fiscal sponsorship? Well, fiscal sponsorship is a formal arrangement in which an existing U.S. tax-exempt organization, aka the fiscal sponsor, enters into an agreement with a group or organization that's seeking to raise tax-deductible funds to conduct a charitable project, either prior to or without incorporating or obtaining their IRS determination. So what does that mean? Well, you're going to enter into an agreement, a written agreement with a established tax-exempt nonprofit, and they're going to be your sponsor. They're going to put you under their umbrella, and they're going to guide you in your nonprofit journey. So that's what fiscal sponsorship means. Now, who should consider fiscal sponsorship? What type of people would benefit from it? Well, groups or organizations that want to test their viability of their charitable projects. In general, because there's no need to create and administer a separate tax-exempt organization, fiscal sponsorship can be time-efficient and cost-effective way for a group or organization to determine whether sufficient funds can be raised so as to justify applying for tax-exempt status. That's a lot of information. But what is that saying? Well, if you have an idea or project, fiscal sponsorship will be good for you. If you have a nonprofit but you haven't applied for your tax exempt status, fiscal sponsorship will be good for you. Because by doing that, you can determine if your project or your nonprofit is even a good idea. Can it sustain itself? So by getting a fiscal sponsor, it will allow you once again to work under their umbrella to determine if it's going to work out. Now, also groups or organizations wanting to operate charitable projects for a short time, they can decide instead of spending their time and money filing for their tax exemption, they can just go and work under the fiscal sponsor and use their resources. So they're a good candidate. Also, if you have a group or organization that doesn't have the manpower or the money, they're a good candidate for fiscal sponsorship. And if you're seeking grants and donations for your particular project, you're a good candidate for fiscal sponsorship. Now, there's two types of fiscal sponsorship: comprehensive and pre-approved grants. So let's talk about comprehensive. Well, comprehensive, in this model, the sponsor owns the project. The sponsor is going to be in charge of the project legally and financially. They're responsible. And also any donations that is given will be treated as restricted funds, and your sponsor is going to determine what to do with the money. The sponsor is going to delegate who runs the project, if they're volunteers, employees, or contractors. And in regards to the sponsor having ownership, any work that is created uh, during the project, any websites that are made, fundraisings, mailing lists, all those are owned by the sponsor. Okay, so let's go to our next one, pre-approved grant relationship, fiscal sponsorship. Now, in this model, your project does not belong to the sponsor. It exists as a separate entity and it's responsible for its own legal and tax issues. The fiscal sponsor will still collect the monies, but you will determine how the monies are applied to this project. You will determine what employees, volunteers that you have. You are in complete charge of this particular project in this model. Now, what could go wrong? Well, one of the things is the project you could end up getting a sponsor without doing your homework, without doing your due diligence, by reviewing the sponsor, their mission, their reputation, their previous experience with other fiscal sponsorships, their policies for sponsorship, and their fees. And that could cause you to really be in a bad way. Also, you can create a sponsorship without having a written agreement. That's not very good, because in the next point, the fiscal sponsorship agreement does not include clear exit provisions. So you could have a written agreement, but there's no verbiage to describe what happens if you decide, well, this project's not working out. You don't have it written in stone. You don't have it written down, so you don't know who gets to keep what things that have been created. You don't know if there's any monies, the monies that you've collected, where do they go? Who gets to keep those? So a lot of things can go wrong if you don't take the time to plan this out, choose your sponsor wisely, and do your homework. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's look at the pros. Well, one of the benefits is this allows you to focus on your project, allows you to work on developing your project, and it leaves the administrative tasks and all the other things to the sponsor. So it allows them to handle all the legal things, the tax problems, tax issues. It really allows you to focus on making your project a success. And also, if you have a really, really good sponsor, this will help your organization or your cause, because it will help you have increased credibility, and also it could allow you to get more funding opportunities and more money. So what are some of the cons of fiscal sponsorship? Well, number one is a loss of identity for the sponsor project. Some funders may not want to give grants to fiscal sponsorship, so that's an area as well. Loss of legal ownership over donations, since the fiscal sponsor maintains ownership and control over all the donations. But they have to not direct their donations be used for the sponsor project. So they have to direct that that's what it's for. And also fees. A fiscal sponsor would typically charge a fee, and that's reality, guys. And I don't know if it's necessarily a con. It could be for some people, but you're using their employees, their resources, their computers. They're going out in the community to fundraise for you, so that's time as well. And generally, the fees for that is no higher than 10% of the donations received, and they also can charge an initial setup fee or due diligence fee. So that's just some things to keep in mind. And so this is the end of our brief overview of fiscal sponsorship and how it can help your nonprofit.
So thanks guys for watching the video. I really hope that you were able to learn something to really help your nonprofit to decide if fiscal sponsorship is the right way to go. As always, please feel free to reach out to us on social media. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And remember, you're not on this journey alone. We're all in it together, changing the world one nonprofit at a time. Until then, we'll see you in the next video.